Previously on Boars All Day.
Hey, it's Chris out of Boars All Day. Hey, it's Chris out here, Boars All Day. Hey, it's Chris out of Boars All Day. Hey, it's Chris, Boars All Day. Hey, this is Chris, Boars All Day. Hey, this is Chris with Boars All Day. Hey, it's Chris out here, Boars All Day. Hey, it's Chris out of Boars All Day. Hey, it's Chris with Boars All Day. Hey, it's Chris out of Boars All Day.
And here's Chris from Boars All Day.
Hey guys, we're out here. It's getting really bad out here, but we want to let you know the hogs are okay. Harvey can't stop us. Okay, that's it, guys. See you.
Good. Is that good?
Good. We're good, right? This
Man.
food is hot, man. It's so hot.
Turn the fan off, it's noisy.
Till next time.
Boop, 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 boop.
What we're gonna do now is we've ground everything up, about 150 pounds or so of sausage. Now we're gonna move on to the stuffing of the sausage. This is casing, real casing, sausage casing. This is a whole, they call it a hank. This is a whole hank. We'll use half a hank doing sausage, and then we'll have leftovers, so we seal it up. It's in salt water, so it preserves it. But a little trick is when you use it, you're gonna take it and you're gonna dump it all out in a bowl of some kind. And that's all cold water, and this is pliable casing. It's real casing, so it's intestine. It's been cleaned out and washed. No, we did not make our own casing. What is that? Anyway, I dumped the cold water out. You want to get as hot a water as you can. That's pretty hot. And you're gonna fill that up with hot water. It's just gonna make that casing start to expand like it had Mexican food. So you let it sit there in that hot water, and I'll refresh that hot water as I'm making the sausage. So we'll pull that casing out and I'll show you how we do that. I'll just refresh it from time to time to keep that water as hot as possible. So I'm gonna go get the sausage stuffer. This is a sausage stuffer. So we recently got this. We had a sausage stuffer that did about 8 pounds before, and it was a grinder, it had wheels and gears. So you had to have 2 people to sit here, somebody doing this, and somebody down here working this hand as the sausage comes out. And we recently got this big boy that'll do about 30 pounds, and it's electronic. So you have a motor up on top, you can adjust the speed, and you control your pressure plate with this foot pedal, which, man, what a difference that makes. So if you can find one of these, if you're into making sausage, it's worth every single penny. Auto up, so it goes up, it's got a little kill switch here. When it hits that, it turns off. You put it back in the neutral position. 10 to 100 all the way over here, 100 plus. Me personally, I keep it right around 20 to 30. You get up over here pretty fast, and I don't know who's doing that, but that sucker shoots out of there. There's a little rubber gasket that goes on here, and then I'll get the filler tube put on there, and then we'll fill it up. In your stuffer, you get 4 tubes usually, sometimes just 3, but this is like your summer sausage, those big logs of summer sausage. That's what that biggest one does. That's a kind of the same thing, more of a boudin when you're stuffing rice really slow. Some bigger sausage like that, where you don't want to squish that rice down too tight. This is your little hot dog stuffer, if you're gonna do tiny little hot dogs or little bitty thin links. So we are going with this one here. We always tend to use that one. You can get the casing on better. That's the size of the sausage you saw on the side. This is what we use all the time. It goes right there. All right. The casing, this is kind of gross. Feels like it looks. But you dig down here and you find an end. So I found an end, and I'm gonna open that up almost like a balloon. Then I like to go down and I like to scoop some water in there. Just scoop it in, filling that up with water. So you can see it makes like a little, see See, it's filled up with water right there. So that water's gonna run through that casing when I start to put it on the filler tube here. I'll get some meat here in a second and rub some meat on here just so you get a little fat meat to kind of grease up that tube. But I'm gonna make sure that I got one that goes all the way through, so I'm gonna start pulling that out. So we got a shorter one right there. So we're good there. I'll go down here and find another one. With this much meat, when we're doing 30 pounds at a time, I like to put, depending on how long the casing is, I might put 2 or 3 of these on this tube. They'll all be stacked up right here. I'll show you in a second. They'll be stacked up, and I can just go from one to the next without having to stop and start all over again.
This holds about 30 pounds or 35 pounds. If we go to the bottom, fill it up again, that should get all the sausage. I'm pushing on it, try to get as much of the air out as I can. It's got an air release on the top of it, so you don't have to get worried too much about it. But try to pack it as best you can.
Kind of puts a little bit of fat and grease on there to keep it, almost acts as a lubricant, I guess. Then when you put this on, you just grab it with 2 fingers and start sliding it. It starts to bunch up there. Kind of make sure that that bubble stays right in the middle. Before you start, you're gonna want to push down just a little bit and to get that meat to come out. Air in the sausage is a bad thing. So you want to push that meat out so you're ready to go, so it's at the very end, and then have a pin. It's just it's like a regular old sewing needle. Pin, it's a needle. And as you go through, if you get little air pockets in the sausage, you'll pop those. Have a pair of scissors so you can cut if you run into problems. So I'm gonna pull that out. Tie that off. So if I see air bubbles right off the bat, I'm just gonna stab down and go away. That's that. Sucker's moving. That's not what I was on last time. Yeah, you're what? Oh. You're at 40. Oh. 20. Okay, see here, I'm starting to get a lot of air. Now it's packed pretty tight, but I was getting some air, so you pop that and it sinks it back down. And when I start to twist it, I'll go and I'll see if I got bubbles in there, and I'll get rid of those. Yeah, that's a short.
The end.
So when you get to the end, you just pull out a little just to give yourself a little working room. I don't tie the end because I'm gonna start moving back through it.
Because I use the electric smoker, it's got little racks on it, which I like because it doesn't get as strong of a smoke. What I consider to be just right. We got to put it into smaller links. So after we're through, we'll twist it like that, 8-10 inches, if we can get it that way. I don't hang it, I lay it to smoke it.
When you spin those off, you gotta rotate. If you're spinning the same way every time, and then you get confused. But If you're spinning the same way every time, then you'll undo the one before. So, and just keep going, so you gotta go reverse each time. Fling it. Or get rid of that little juice flinger. I have to bring your thing over closer.
I'm gonna lay them on the table, and then when that cooler gets empty, I'm gonna put them in the cooler, and then I'll pack this cooler in another cooler surrounded by ice until I can get ready to smoke.
There's zero chance of that. I think when you're doing the casing, I use my hand to kind of control how fast it comes out. That's probably not the right way to do it. First off, we are not a meat processing place. It's just us, over the years, have figured out how we like it done. What do they say? There's more than one way to skin a cat, and there's more than one way to make sausage. This is just how we make it, and we like it. I think with that being said, you can put whatever meat you want in here. You can mix meats, you can do anything, but we're always open to suggestions on how to do things differently or do things better. We like eating, we like playing in the woods, and this is a way to put both of them together. But we are always up for suggestions on what to do differently if you have something you want to throw in the mix. Not, why'd you kill those poor animals? Don't kill those animals. That's all I got to say about that. We still got about 125 pounds to go. So we'll keep casing away, and then we're gonna throw it in the smoker.
All right, so I'm setting the temperature on 125. I put the paper down to keep the stains from getting on the concrete. I'm gonna double it up. Got a few grease droppings on it from yesterday. This is just painter's paper that you can buy at Lowe's or Home Depot or paint store. When we get through with this particular smoking, just take it up, throw it in the trash. It sure helps on the stains of the concrete. So I'm preheating the smokers to 130, and they'll stay at 130 for an hour or two. I'll change them every hour as I rotate until I finally get to 170 degrees. And in the latter stages of the cooking, I bump it up to 180. The key to sausage in my mind is slow. That's the reason we put the curing salt in there. You can cook it slow at a low temperature. Now I like to finally finish my sausage by getting them to the correct eating temperature, which is 160 to 165 internal temperature of the sausage. And I don't finish that in the smoker. I go into the house and I actually lay them on the racks in the oven, and I get them to that temperature. And then when you pull them out of the bags, they're completely cooked. I put a few chips in the smoker, but it really won't smoke until it gets up to about 150, 60 degrees. There's a different rule of thumb, or people have different rules of thumb on putting smoke right away, but this particular smoker doesn't. It doesn't actually smoke at low temperature. The other thing I do, which saves on cleanup, is I wrap the drip pan. I don't put any water. The drip pan's dry for smoking, but it's still in there. I guess I could take it out, but I leave it in there. it catches fat drippings. And you want me to get that light and shine? So I wrap the water pan and the drip pan with foil. When the smoking is finished, all I have to do is pull it off and throw it away, and there's not a lot of cleaning. If you leave that water or grease gets in that water pan or down here on the drip pan and you leave it, that grease will eat through the metal and it'll ruin the pan. So it's a whole lot easier to just wrap it, throw it away, makes cleanup so much simpler. You don't have to take it in the house and mess up the kitchen sink. This is the sausage we made the other night. This is the Polish. Yes, I smoked all the Cajun yesterday. So today I'm gonna smoke Polish, and then there'll be some left over, so I'll have to smoke some more tomorrow. I only smoke the sausage in the daytime. I get up at 6 and here it is about 7 o'clock, and so we'll put it on there, and it'll take about 12 to 15 hours. So I started at 130, and then I gradually bump it up to where we're at 170. But that's like an hour or two between bumps. So I start at 130, I go to 140, then 150, 160, 170. But it takes about 8 hours to get there. The reason I do that is if you take this sausage and you cook it too hot, too fast, it'll melt the fat out and the sausage will get dry and crumbly on you. So I do it slow, take my time, and had good results. So after we put it in the casing, I packed it off in a cooler, and then I put the cooler inside a bigger cooler and packed it with ice, so it's kept it cool this whole time. Electric smokers have racks. So I'll take all the racks out. There's your Polish sausage. Usually it takes, on a rack you can usually put 8, maybe 9 links. And I lay them out, kind of circle them around like that, and I don't want them to touch because they'll get little spots on them where they touch. I'm going to snip this one right to the connection point. And I'm going to lay these out on the rack. So I come back out here at every hour and I'll rotate the racks. I'll take the top one, put it on the bottom. I'll take the bottom one, put it on the top, move everything down. And I'll do that for 4 hours until all the racks have rotated, because the smokers have a hot and cool points in them, and that way that keeps any individual links from getting overcooked early in the process. freezer. Gonna store them in the freezer right now. Last of the Cajun, put into the freezer. Losing them. Done. In the freezer.
All right, we are wrapping up our sausage making extravaganza. In the instructions we showed earlier, we sometimes we'll put this in an ice bath, and then sometimes we just put the sausage directly in our vacuum sealed bags and seal it and freeze it. So I want to show you the difference as we finish this up. We're kind of on the last. So this we threw in an ice bath. It immediately stops the cooking process, cools it down so it doesn't cook any longer, but it kind of takes away the sheen and the, I don't know, some of that juiciness that sits on the outside of a sausage. It comes back when you cook it, you reheat it back up. And then you have the other stuff. One thing I wanted to point out on this, we talked about bubbles. So if you get air in your sausage, you get these little blister looking things. That's, it was not connected to the casing there. It doesn't affect the sausage at all. But this is how we make ours. So you got the ice bath, and then you got directly off the smoker. You can see that shine I'm talking about. But so we finish up, we put it in bags, and then we eat on it for a couple months or a couple weeks, depending on how much we make. But this is just for our own use. We give it to family, friends. People love it. There's nothing better than making your own food from what you have mainly out in the wild, what you can catch or trap or shoot or kill. That is the best sausage you can ever eat. So get out, make your own sausage. If you have any tips, tricks, things you want to share with us, let us know. But that's how we do it. And till next time. Boop. Too far away. Hey, on a side note, if you want your very own or very okay. Beep. On a side note, if you want your very own organic pork t-shirt, we got them for sale at boarsallday.com. A lot of other cool t-shirts. Got a cool, very nice, nifty young designer who's coming up with all these fun ideas. So you can find these. The pulled pork from that video there everybody watches is on there.
You want me to draw rope you? I will.
This shirt's on there. We got a bunch of cool designs. Oh look, I found some more sage.